Good evening, I'm Cynthia Ng. This is AWANI Tonight. Hand, foot and mouth disease cases doubled since pre-pandemic. And we take a closer look on sexual harassment and bullying. How will a special committee help tackle these issues? More on that coming up. The Ministry of Health denied that the first case of monkeypox has been detected in Malaysia. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the suspected case involving a child was actually a case of hand, foot and mouth disease, or HFMD.
Rumors started to spread after a picture of a 3-year-old suffering from fever and rashes went viral. Dr. Noor Hisham said the National Public Health Laboratory had taken 2 samples from the child who developed the symptoms to be tested for HFMD, monkeypox and other viruses. The results confirmed the child is infected with HFMD because it was positive for Coxsackie virus A6, while negative for monkeypox. Malaysia has recorded double the number of HFMD cases since pre-pandemic times. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said up till May 25th this year, 57,510 cases were reported, compared to 27,664 cases in 2019 before the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Khairi said the majority of infections were found in children aged below 12. To mitigate the spread of the disease, the Health Ministry has taken several measures, among them raising awareness and empowering district health offices nationwide to conduct early detection and break the transmission of infections.
Ampang MP Datuk Sri Zuraida Kamaruddin has left Bersatu for Parti Bangsa Malaysia or PBM. Secretary General Noor Hizwan Ahmad said the party received her application to join PBM and that is still being processed. Bersatu Secretary General Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin meanwhile said that Zuraida has been stripped of her Bersatu Supreme Council post with immediate effect.
She said her reason to join PBM was, among others, because of the party's principles. PBM is described as being multiracial as well as women and youth-centric. It was launched on December 21st last year and is headed by Julai MP Larry Singh. With Zuraida's entry to the party, PBM currently has 3 MPs and 2 state assemblymen. Zuraida said she will meet the Prime Minister soon to discuss her resignation as a plantation industries and commodities minister.
Enforcement agencies at the Malaysian borders with Thailand were ordered to beef up security following the Takbai incident last night. Authorities said they were also told to prepare for any eventuality following the latest attacks.
Federal Internal Security and Public Order Department Director Datuk Sri Hazani Ghazali assured the public that Malaysian borders with Thailand are secure at the moment. However, enforcement agencies are told to prepare for anything to happen, including attempt of illegal movement coming from Thailand. Hazani also confirmed that no Malaysian was injured in the incident. Yesterday, 3 security officials were injured when a marine police station was attacked with gunfire and grenades in Takbai, located in southern Thailand.
The government has increased the overall subsidies to 71 billion ringgit this year from an average of 30 billion ringgit. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos today, said the increase in subsidy by more than half was done to help tame inflation.
Because if you look at what's happening in the region, that's the staple food, right? Rice for Southeast Asia. It's very important. For Malaysia, we're not self-sufficient for rice. We're 70% domestic, but 30% is imported. Vietnam, Thailand, they're all self-sufficient. So there's a lot of government assistance to ensure that supply is secure. And also at the same time, subsidies, a large amount of subsidies that are allocated to ensure that the price is also maintained, given the importance of rice to Malaysians and everyone else in the region. So this has been a challenge, especially when the cost of producing has gone up. And we are seeing that countries all over the region are being asked to step up. But Malaysia, just to give you a sense, please, subsidy in terms of numbers, we usually subsidize to the tune of 30 billion ringgit. This year, it will be 71 billion ringgit. That's why the inflation is still low at 2%, but that's core inflation. Food inflation is actually up 4%. And you're right about the basket. So the vulnerable groups obviously will be facing bigger challenges given that the basket of food is much higher. And these are the average household consumption is the assumption for inflation. And at the same time, we are lucky because some of the countries in the region do not have that commodity resource. You can see where the oil price is today. And most countries may not have the opportunity to get revenue.
The Ministry of Education announced a special committee to tackle sexual harassment and bullying in schools. University Science Malaysia's Dr. Noraida Endot lauded the effort, but questioned whether putting two big issues under one committee is the best way forward.
Sexual harassment is a very specific form of behavior that we need to tackle. So, and it requires a lot of understanding and sensitivity because it's a gender-based issue. It's an issue where disproportionately women are disproportionately the victim of the behavior, and men are disproportionately the perpetrator of the behavior. So this understanding about the gender context of the behavior is very important for someone to be able to effectively deal with the issue. The coupling of the sexual harassment committee with bullying, while bullying is also a very important issue in the school, they're both separately very important issue affecting children at school, affecting even staff at school, So I think they should not be coupled and under one committee because the idea, the way to intervene it may be a bit different. Okay, so sexual harassment may have an outcome of bullying, but sexual harassment is not just about bullying, and bullying also may not involve sexual elements and so on. So I think by mixing or by combining them together under one committee, there might be some issue there.
Noraida stressed the importance of confidentiality for complainants and perpetrators when cases are investigated.
It's important for there to be confidentiality, both of the victims and of the perpetrators, because for the perpetrators, I mean, if we are looking at sexual harassment especially if you are firm that sexual harassment is a form of criminal behavior, for example, we do need to give basically for the perpetrators, they have their rights not to be convicted before all evidence have been established. So confidentiality is very important. And also what happens during the process of investigation? How do you decide on evidence? And because evidence for sexual harassment is very, very difficult, because sometimes sexual harassment occur where there are no witnesses. So what types of evidence should we be able to receive?
More after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The gunman responsible for a deadly school shooting in Texas warned on social media before the attack that he was going to shoot up a school. The governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, said that the gunman, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, made 3 social media posts before the shooting.
As of this time, the only information that was known in advance was posted by the gunman on Facebook approximately 30 minutes before reaching the school. The first post was to the point of, he said, "I'm going to shoot my grandmother." The second post was, "I shot my grandmother." The third post, maybe less than 15 minutes before arriving at the school, was, "I'm going to shoot an elementary school."
The shooting, which left 19 children and 2 adults dead, has reignited a long-running debate on gun control in the U.S. Many have called for stricter gun buying laws, while others are skeptical that they would stop mass shootings. Democratic candidate running for governor in Texas, Beto O'Rourke, accused Abbott of distracting residents with politics and theater instead of dealing with the proliferation of guns in the state.
Right now, his priority is allowing anyone to carry a firearm in public without a background check. Though law enforcement stopped 35,000 Texans from doing that over the last 5 years, deeming them too dangerous to carry a loaded gun in public, he's now allowing all of them. The question all of you need to ask him is, why does he want violent criminals to be able to carry guns on our streets? Go ask him that. He has not had to answer for any of this, and he gets by with this theater. I'm calling it out. I came here to call it out, to stop this, because if we don't stop it, it will continue to happen.
Abbott has dismissed calls for more gun regulation, stating that cities with stronger gun laws aren't safer. Instead, he said Texas needed to do a better job with mental health, as the shooter Ramos had a mental health challenge. Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan demanded the government to set new elections in the next 6 days, or he will again march on the capital, along with 3 million people. Khan led a convoy of thousands of supporters towards Islamabad on Wednesday, aiming to bring down the government and force early elections.
Khan was Prime Minister for over 3.5 years until being ousted last month by a no-confidence vote in Parliament. Since then, he has held rallies across the country, saying his removal from office was a result of a US-organized plot and collusion with President and Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif. Sharif has pledged to stop the convoy from entering the city, calling the rally an attempt to divide the nation and promote chaos. The government had also called out the army to protect its buildings in the capital amid clashes between protesters and security forces late on Wednesday night.
China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi and a 20-person delegation arrived in the Solomon Islands today amid growing concerns about Beijing's military and financial ambitions in the South Pacific region. Australia was scrambling to counter the move by sending its own Foreign Minister Penny Wong to Fiji to shore up support in the Pacific. Last month, China signed a security pact with the Solomon Islands, raising fears that China could send troops to the island or even establish a military base there, not far from Australia. The Solomon Islands and China had said that there are no plans for a base. The Chinese delegation is on an 8-nation tour, aiming to get 10 small Pacific nations to endorse a sweeping agreement covering everything from security to fisheries. Shanghai is set to emerge from a lockdown on June 1st as targeted by the government as daily COVID-19 cases stayed below 500 for the 4th consecutive day. The positive turn gave city officials enough confidence to begin loosening some restrictions on movement and work in the city of 25 million people.
Students in junior and senior high school can return to offline classes from June 6, following an announcement earlier in the week that shopping malls will be allowed to reopen, although in batches from June 1st. While the lockdown is slowly being lifted, the effects on production and supply chains will likely be felt for months. There will be a rush to purchase raw materials when firms reopen. A flood of finished goods are then expected to leave factories as companies try to make up for lost time. The backlog from disruptions to Shanghai's port will also likely continue to cause shipping congestions well into the year.
The controversial pick of an UMNO politician as ambassador to Indonesia brought the diplomatic service into public view. Tonight on Consider This, we ask our guests about challenges for Wisma Putra. That's coming up right after this. That's all we have for you on AWANI tonight. I'm Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching.